Okay guys, so your assessment piece is going to be actually a shell drawing. So you're going to be given a shell in lesson and you're going to have to sketch it. So the first thing you need to decide is which way up do you want it. Now I'm going to do a bit of a challenge, so I'm going to actually be drawing it this way up. If you want a bit less of a challenge, then maybe you could draw it this way up. Okay, so the first thing is you're going to put your shell on the table kind of in front of you so that you can get a good view on it. Now, the very first thing you're going to have to do, I'm using a HB pencil, is just sketch out the shape of the shell. So we looked at this a little bit, so you're going to be drawing just the contour kind of outside shape at the moment. Now, you need to make sure that you can see your picture all the way around your hand. If you can't, like that, then you need to draw it bigger. This does need to fill the whole space. If you're going to do all the textures and all the other things to this shell, then it does need to be as large as possible. Okay, so I've kind of broken this down into a triangle here, kind of almost like a circular bit here, and kind of an oval for that opening in here. So as you can see, the lines are really rough. Doesn't matter that they've gone a little bit wrong in places. I'm going to tidy that up as I go. So the first stage is just to map it out. Okay, you're just mapping out how big everything is going to be, and it needs to be big on the paper. So the next stage is to follow the lines with your eyes, and you're going to start sketching out a few more parts of the form. So my eye is constantly flicking back between my paper and the shell so that I'm checking that my pencil's doing what I want it to do. I'm kind of measuring the width of this to see if I've done it wide enough or too wide. And then I'm putting in slightly more specific shapes so I can see a little corner here. Now this is going to take some time. I'd probably, if I was you, spend at least 5 minutes just going back over. I've actually drawn too many points here. So I've done it a little bit too long, so I'm just going to rub that back. So you can tell, so far I've not used my rubber, so I've got extra lines that I now don't need. So this is called refining. So I'm going to refine my drawing, so I haven't wasted time picking my rubber up, doing a bit more, picking my rubber up. I've waited till the end because it's much more efficient, and you're going to get a lot more done. Whoops, you're going to get a lot more done if you're not constantly rubbing things out every 2 seconds. So just be confident that in a minute you're going to rub all the lines out that have gone a bit wrong, because there will be lots, and your drawing looks, you know, like this specific shell. Okay, now I can see here it's almost got like a white part and a sort of creamy brown part, so I'm going to just draw that bit of a shape. So I kind of know where I've got to shade up to a little bit. Okay, so as I said, probably spend 5 to 10 minutes just sketching that out. So I'll do the hand test again. You can see my drawing all the way around my hand, so yes, it's big enough. Okay, now I'm going to be swapping over. I've got a 5B pencil, so I'm going to be using this to start with. I'm going to get it nice and sharp on the end. So my hand is going to be on the top of my pencil. Now I'm squinting my eyes at this shell to just see where the darkest parts are. So they're going to actually be in this hole here, and I'm looking for any shapes of those shadows. Now normally I would turn the paper at this point, but because it's on the video I'm not going to do it. It would make it easier for you to turn your piece of paper, so it's kind of coming out towards me, so the lines are kind of coming diagonally like this. I'm then squinting my eyes, and actually all of this part is in shadow, so I'm just going to put a little bit of pencil down just so there's something there and it kind of looks a little bit like a shadow, because obviously the light is hitting this part a little bit more. So like we did on the sphere drawing, but this time it's obviously slightly more of a complex form. Okay, so now I'm going to use my finger so it's nice and dry and clean to blend in some of these parts. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to get the rubber and I'm going to rub back all these smudges that have kind of gone over the edge. So I don't want this drawing to look like it's made out of cotton wool. So we're going back to what we call refining with the rubber. And we can use it for highlighting and things after. So what I'm going to do then, I'm going to start to look for the very, very darkest shadow. So I'm holding the pencil in the normal way. I'm pressing harder to create a shadow. And I'm just... So you can see I'm contouring it around the shape. Now I can see kind of stripes. So I'm kind of using that. So I know which way to go. So I don't want too many lines, but I do want to bring a little bit of dark shading to make that look like it's going inside. So you can really see I've got that full tone of range. I'm going from light to medium to very dark. So already I've got the texture the tone sorted. So for this part of the shell, I'm actually going to be doing a smooth texture. So that's why I've just rubbed that little bit of blending in to make that nice and soft. And then obviously the rubber creates those highlights. And you can kind of fade the edge of the highlight back in. Now, for this outside part, this is more rough, so I'm going to be using perhaps hatching to start with, so little lines that are curving around. You can kind of see little lines on this shell. Now this time I do have a little bit of a pattern coming towards the front. So I'm going to use a thicker wiggly line. I'm going to start building up some pattern. And then I'm going to use the long hatching lines because I still need this area to be a little bit darker. So I'm doing these hatching lines, but I'm starting to press darker where it's going to be in a shadow. Okay, so you still need to be thinking texture and still adding a little bit of tone on there. Now, are there any imperfections you can see? Any rough parts, any sort of dots that are coming out towards you? So now I'm really starting to go in for the detail. Can I do scumbling? Can I do stippling? Can I do more hatching? Can I put darker lines on? Lighter lines? Now I'm doing this part quite quickly, but I think you need to maybe slow down a bit and actually really zoom your eyes in. Can you see all these lines? You could have a go if you've got time. So with a sharp pencil, can you start to put these in? So all of the time you're thinking, is it tonal or is it textural or is it both? Okay, so I'm going to go back in with my rubber. I'm constantly refining things. I may be thinking I need a bit of a shine here, so I'm going to rub that back. Okay, so one last thing then. So you can perhaps spend a few more minutes refining this. You need to try and draw a table shadow. So how this kind of looks. And it's kind of hitting the table. So I might get my pencil back on the side. Get this blended in. I'm just going to blend it. This side it's going to be quite soft because there's not much shadow there. And then I'm really going to contrast here. You can see how this is starting to come forward a little bit. I don't really want to see the line on the edge of that. Okay, so what we are expecting, you're going to have about 45 minutes in the lesson, is your finished shell drawing by the end. Okay, so if you want to have a practice beforehand, you can. If you just want to watch this video, hopefully it's given you a little bit of an idea on what to do. Now have a look, you will be allowed your sketchbook, so you can have a look at your tone page, you can have a look at your texture page, and you can actually start to apply some of these techniques. So I should be able to see stippling, scumbling, dark shadows, light highlights, all of the different things that we've covered so far this term. I should be able to see in your work. Okay, so good luck, and I can't wait to see your finished shells.